the deforming force and the restoring force. Okay, so deforming force is nothing but the force which is applied on a body, okay, which results in change in shape or size of a body is called as deforming force. Okay, so the restoring force is nothing but always when you apply the deforming force, okay, the restoring force comes into play. Okay, so that restoring force always tries to bring back the body or an object to its initial position, and that force is called as restoring force, right? So coming to this elasticity, as you know that the property of a solid body by virtue which it regains its original configuration. Okay, so once the deforming force is removed from the body, if the body is able to regain its original configuration, that is maybe its original size or shape, okay, we call that body as elastic body. Okay, similarly plasticity is nothing but where once you remove the deforming force, okay, where the body fails to regain its original configuration, is called as the plastic body. Okay, that is we call that one as a plasticity. Okay, we say that the body doesn't has elastic property, we say. Okay, so that was regarding plasticity and elasticity. So coming to this perfectly plastic body and perfectly elastic body, so as you know that no body is perfectly elastic, okay, and similarly no body is perfectly plastic. Okay, only the perfectly elastic body and perfectly plastic body is an ideal concept, right? And next we just went through about this stress. Okay, so stress is nothing but what? So whenever a deforming force is applied on the body, a restoring force is developed in that. Okay, so that restoring force per unit area is called as stress. Okay, as I said, when the deforming force is applied, so a restoring force come into play. Okay, hence that restoring force per unit area itself is called as the stress. So stress is nothing but equal to applied force or deforming force divided by area of the body. So since you know that this deforming force and restoring force are equal and opposite in direction, hence you can define the stress also as, instead of restoring force by area, you can also define that one as deforming force by area. Okay, one and the same. So the stress can be written as mathematically F by A. Okay, and the SI unit comes out to be as Newton per meter square, and this stress is a scalar quantity. Next we just went through about this types of stress. In that the first one was normal stress. Normal stress is nothing but what? It is the restoring force per unit area perpendicular to the surface of the body. Okay, where the force what you are applying is perpendicular to the body surface of a body. So in that normal stress itself we have two types of stress, that is tensile stress and compressive stress, where in the case of tensile stress there will be a increase in length of the body due to the force applied in a perpendicular direction, so that the body extends. Okay, so that extension can be written as denoted by delta L. Okay, so similarly coming to this compressive stress, as you know that even here what happens, you are going to apply the force perpendicular to the surface of the body, but which results in the decrease in length of the body. So we call this type of stress as compressive stress, right? So next coming to this tangential or shearing stress, as you know that we are just going to apply tangential force to the one end of the body. Okay, so where the body get displaced by an amount of delta x. Okay, so in the figure 2b you can see that we have applied a force tangentially, so that there is a displacement of delta x, and this type of stress is, we call that one as tangential stress or shearing stress. Okay, so next is regarding hydraulic stress or volume stress or bulk stress we call. So this is nothing but when you take a ball and when you immerse that ball in a water, so what happens, the water exerts the force on the ball, so that which results in the decrease in volume. Okay, so this type of stress where there is a which results in the decrease in volume of a body is called as hydraulic stress or volume stress or bulk stress. Okay, so this is regarding the stress. So do you have any doubts regarding the stress and whatever we have discussed in the uh, last class? In case if you have any doubts, you can let me, or else we will move to the next. Okay, fine. Coming to the next about strain. Okay, see, strain is nothing but it is defined as the ratio of change in configuration to the original configuration when deforming force is applied. Okay, the change in configuration can be in form of length, in the form of shape, or in the form of volume. Okay, so strain is defined as the ratio of change in configuration to the original configuration when the deforming force is applied. Okay, so the strain has no units and dimension. Okay, so it has no units because the numerator and denominator will be the same. Okay, so hence we say that the unit will be, the unit is the unit for strain is no unit for strain. Okay, so next, coming to this type of strains, first one we have longitudinal strain. Okay, coming to this longitudinal strain, it is nothing but we define that one as, it is defined as the ratio of change in length to the original length of the body when deforming force is applied. Okay, so as you can see in the figure there, you have a body which has been attached to a rigid support. Okay, so if you consider L as the length of the body, okay, I think in the notes it has been missed out. If you consider this as the L, length of the body, so when you apply a deforming force in that, so that obviously there will be a increase in length. That increase in length is nothing but, you can see here, it is L, delta L. Okay, so it is nothing but we define the longitudinal strain as change in length to the original length. Okay, original length was L and the change in length is delta L. So hence the longitudinal strain, you can express that one as change in length divided by original length. Okay, mathematically delta L by L. So this is regarding the longitudinal strain. Okay, so next, coming to volume strain. So just I'll read out that in the case of volume strain, it is defined as the ratio of change in volume to the original volume of the body under bulk stress or hydraulic stress. For example, if V naught is the volume of the body and under hydraulic stress, its volume changes to V as shown in the figure. So change in volume is nothing but it is delta V is equal to V naught minus V. Okay, so here as you know that volume strain is nothing but change in volume to the original volume. Okay, so that what happens here is the change in volume will be due to the hydraulic stress. Okay, so when the hydraulic stress or bulk stress is applied, so there will be a change in volume. So that change in volume divided by original volume itself, we call that one as volume strain. Okay, so mathematically we are going to write that one as the volume strain as delta V by V naught. Okay, where we have added a negative sign there, the negative sign denotes that the decrease in volume. Okay, so as you know, in the case of volume strain, what happens, there will be a change in volume, right? There will be a decrease in volume. So that decrease in volume we have written expressed in terms of negative sign there. Okay, this is regarding the volume strain. Next, coming to the shear strain, I'll just read out that it is defined as the angle through which a face originally perpendicular to the fixed face turned under the shearing stress. Example, to the upper face of cuboid, if we apply a tangential force such that lower face is fixed and the upper face is displaced by an angle theta and linear displacement is delta x. Okay, so you can see in the figure you have a cuboid. Okay, where we are applying a tangential force to the upper face of the cuboid, so that the upper face gets displaced by an amount of delta x, and we can take the angle as theta there. Okay, so if you consider a triangle, okay, of this, if you consider a triangle of this here in the figure, when you apply the value of tan theta, so tan theta value comes out to be as delta x divided by L. Okay, so for a very small value of theta, what you can do is you can approximate tan theta to theta. Okay, you can approximate tan theta to theta. So hence this equation tan theta is equal to delta x by L can be written as theta is equal to delta x by L. Okay, and this is regarding the shear strain. Okay, is this fine? So do one thing, just go through about the strain definition, then go through the types of strains for a few minutes. So in case if you have any doubts, please let me know. Okay, ಏನು ಹುಡುಕ್ತಾ ಇದೀರಿ? light, light. ಬಿಡ್ಬಿಡುವಾಗ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು. Okay, fine. Any doubts, students, regarding this strain? Okay, fine. So next we will move on to elastic limit. Okay, So see, what is elastic limit? So there is a one more question. Okay, elastic limit is defined as the maximum stress that the body can bear, such that on the removal of deforming force, it can regain its original shape. Okay, so within the elastic limit, so what happens? The maximum stress that a body can bear, so that on the removal of deforming force, it can regain its original shape. Okay, so this is regarding the elastic limit, so that the body can bear the maximum stress. Okay, once the stress is removed, so that the body will be able to regain its original shape. Okay, that is called as the elastic limit. So what happens if the stress is applied above the elastic limit? Okay, so when the stress is applied above the elastic limit, so the body gets permanently deformed and it is said to be overstrained. So what happens here is, once the body, or once the stress what you have applied is beyond the elastic limit, okay, so what happens is the body gets permanently deformed. Okay, so that it will be not able to regain its original shape. Okay, this is regarding the elastic limit. Next, coming to Hooke's law. Even this is an important definition. Okay, even it will be asked for 1 or 2 marks. Okay, so let us see about this Hooke's law. According to Hooke's law, stress is directly proportional to the strain within elastic limit. Okay, now you are aware of the stress and strain, right? Okay, so the stress is directly proportional to strain within elastic limit. That itself is called as Hooke's law. Next, mathematically, you are going to express that one as stress is directly proportional to strain, or if you replace that proportionality by equal sign, so we need to add a constant, so that becomes stress is equal to constant into strain, or we can write stress by strain is equal to constant. The ratio of stress by strain will be nothing but equal to constant, and that constant of proportionality is called as modulus or coefficient of elasticity, we call. Okay, so this constant what we have taken here is expressed as modulus or coefficient of elasticity, we call. Okay, so this is regarding the Hooke's law. Next, coming to the important question of this chapter. Okay, about stress strain curve. Okay, this is an very important topic which they usually ask for 3 marks. Okay, so let us see what do you mean by this stress strain curve. See, just I'll read out that stress strain curve is the graph giving relationship between the stress and strain. To plot this graph, let us consider a metallic wire which is stressed by loading gradually and observing the variation occurring in the wire. The curve is shown in the figure. The different regions of curve we obtain are given as, okay. So first of all, stress and strain is nothing but it is a graph between stress and strain. So where we have taken stress in the y-axis and strain in the x-axis. Okay, and this variation of this stress and strain, it is observed by taking a metallic wire where you are going to uh, add load to that. Okay, where you are going to add a load to the metallic wire. Okay, so that we are stressing that metallic wire. Okay, and we are observing the graph of stress versus strain. Okay, so we are taking a metallic wire and we are adding a load to that. Okay, and we are, and the observations has been done here. Okay, let us see what are those observations. Okay, so the region OA, okay, in the figure just see that OA. Okay, the region OA shows stress is directly proportional to strain. Because the graph is a straight line, it means Hooke's law is obeyed for the region OA and point A. Okay, is obeyed for the region OA, and point A is called as proportional limit, and the wire in this region is perfectly elastic. Okay, assume that you have taken a metal wire, one end of the metal wire is fixed and the another end is attached to a load. Okay, so you have and applied the load to that. Okay, so next what you are going to do is you are going to remove that load. So what happens the body regains its original shape. Okay, I mean it goes to its original state. So hence we say that if the body goes perfectly to its original state, we say that the body is perfectly elastic. Okay, so that is what in the graph is shown. From 0 to a, sorry, from O to a, you can see it is a straight line. Straight line is nothing but what? That means that stress and strain are directly proportional, we say, right? So stress and strain is directly proportional. Hence we say that OA region obeys the Hooke's law. Okay, that OA region is nothing but it obeys the Hooke's law, we say. Okay, and next let us come to this region AB. Okay, region AB is curved, showing stress is more proportional to strain. When load is removed from the point B, body will retrace its path along BAO to attain original length. The region OB is called elastic region, and the point B is called as elastic limit or yield point, we call. Okay, so see here, next what we are going to do is, again we are going to add a load. Okay, so what we are going to do is, we are adding a little bit more load compared to the previous case. Okay, let us say that initially I have added 10. Okay, 10 grams. So let us say that I'm adding, sorry, let us take 100 grams I have added, okay, to a one end of the metallic wire. Next what I have done is I have added 10 more. Okay, so what happens, the load is more now. Okay, so in the graph you can see there, from A to B the line is not a linear, it is not linear, it is little bit somewhat curve. Okay, so it shows that the stress is more proportional to strain. Okay, when you observe the stress value along the y-axis and the strain value along the x-axis, the stress is more proportional to strain. Okay, so but even though if you remove the weight from the metal wire, so what happens, the body regains its original shape. Okay, in the same path as in the previous one. Okay, so it is said that the body regains its original shape along the path BOA. Okay, so and hence we call this region OB is as elastic region. It is not perfectly elastic, it is elastic region. Okay, and point B is called as elastic limit or yield point, we call. Okay, point B is called elastic limit, we call. So next, what happens if you still increase the load in the wire, metallic wire? Let us say that previously we have added 100 grams, next again you have added some 100 grams, I think. Okay, 200 grams now. So now I'm adding still more to that. Okay, so let us see what happens. So beyond B, in the region BC, strain increases more rapidly than stress. But when the load is removed from point C, it will trace its path along CO dash, where OO dash corresponds to residual strain in the wire, where stress becomes zero. This permanent strain in the wire is called as permanent set. Okay, so see here, what happens here is, so now till second point, till region AB, okay, what we did is, the load on the wire was 200 grams. Let us say that I have added still more 50 grams. Okay, so total it is 250 grams now on the wire. So what happens, the wire has crossed its elastic limit. Okay, so that means that we say that the strain is more. From the graph you can see there, the strain is more, correct? Strain is more compared to the stress there. So once you remove the load completely, okay, all the 250 grams if you remove, the metal wire doesn't regain, okay, it doesn't regain its original shape in the same form. Okay, it goes in some other form. Okay, that means that here, in the previous case the body has gone from BAO. Okay, it regains its path along BAO. Now it should regain the original shape along CBAO. Instead of that, what happened? It has regained its path in along the direction CO dash, not along the previous one. So we call this one as the permanent strain. Okay, where the body doesn't regain its original shape in the same form in the same way as in the before. It regains its original shape in the another way. Okay, so this is called as permanent set we call. Okay, so this permanent strain in the sorry, this permanent strain in the wire is called as permanent set. Okay, so next let us see what happens beyond C. Okay, so again what you are going to do is you have added some more weight. Let us say that still 50 grams you have added. The total weight now on the wire is 300 grams. So what happens, let us see. In the region BC, strain increases more rapidly than stress, but when load is removed from the point C, it will trace its path. Sorry, I am just reading the third point itself. The fourth point, that is beyond C, on increasing the load, the length of the wire increases considerably to the point D. After point D, if the load is increased, then in the wire kinks are developed and finally the wire will break out. So point E is called fracture point. The region CD is called plastic behavior or plastic deformation. The stress required to fracture or break the wire is called breaking or tensile stress or ultimate stress. Okay, so let us see what happens when you add still weight to the wire. So now the weight on the body is 300. Okay, next what I'm going to do is again I'm adding some more 50 grams. So the total weight is 350 grams now. Okay, so what happens is when you add, okay, so what happens, you can see in the figure, the stress is I mean the strain is more compared to the stress. The value of strain is more compared to the value of stress, which results in the increase in length of the wire. Okay, the length of the wire increases compared to the previous case. So that increase in length we call that one as the permanent plastic behavior we call. Okay, plastic behavior, or we call that one as the plastic deformation we call. Okay, next let us say that still more you are adding, still again 50 grams you are adding. So the total weight will be 400. Okay, so what happens at for that 400 grams, the wire gets breaks, the wire breaks. Okay, so hence that point which is E is called as breaking point, and the point C is called as that CD region is called as plastic behavior, where there is an increase in length of the wire. Okay, so by this way you are going to observe the variation of stress versus strain by considering a metallic wire where the one of the end of the metallic wire is attached to a rigid support and the another end of the wire has been connected to a load. So where by varying the, I mean by increasing the load, okay, in the wire, you are going to observe the variation of stress versus strain. Okay, so this is regarding the stress strain curve, and it is a important topic. Okay, so do one thing, just go through about the topic. Okay, so in case if you have any doubts, please let me know, just go through for a while. Okay, fine. Coming to Kushi Roy. Sir, could you please explain what is strain? Strain is nothing but change in configuration to the original configuration. The ratio of change in configuration to original configuration. So when you apply a deforming force to our body, so that what happens, which results in change in size or shape, right? So this strain is defined as the change in configuration to the original configuration when a deforming force is applied to the body. That is called as strain. Okay. So next, Tejas D. What is retrace? See, retrace is nothing but coming back to its same state. That is called as retrace. Ullas V second point, Tasneem fourth. Okay, second point is nothing but here where the body, where the okay. See, coming to the Hooke's law, Hooke's law is nothing but what? Where the stress and strain are directly proportional. When it is stress and strain are directly proportional, within the elastic limit, the stress will be directly proportional to strain. Okay, beyond the elastic limit, the stress will no more proportional to strain. Okay, so that is the thing. So in the region, second region, what happens is when you increase the weight compared to the previous thing, what happens? The stress is more proportional to strain. Okay, the stress is more proportional to strain. Just observe the graph, mathematics, that's all. Okay, so what happens is, even though if you remove the weight from the wire, so the wire retraces its path. Okay, so but in the previous case, in the first point, where the stress was directly proportional to strain there. Okay, but in this case, the stress is not directly proportional. In the second point, the stress is more proportional to strain there, because you can see from A to B, it is not exactly a linear one, it is little bit curved there. So hence we say that the stress is more proportional to strain. So next, coming to fourth point, that is beyond C. See, it is nothing but when you keep on increasing the weight, okay, beyond the elastic limit, I'm talking at the fourth point. Okay, so what happens is there will be an increase in length of the wire, because the elastic limit is passed. Okay, we are talking beyond the elastic limit. Once the elastic limit is we are talking about beyond the elastic limit, so what happens? The body loses its elasticity. So what happens? There will be a permanent deformation. Okay, even though after removal of the load, the body will not be able to come back to its initial state. Okay, so that type of deformation, we call that one as permanent deformation, or plastic behavior we call, right? That is the thing. So after that, even though if you increase the load, so what happens? The body gets breaks. Okay, that means the wire get breaks, metallic wire. So that is called as breaking point. Okay, so this is regarding the stress and strain curve. Okay, do one thing. So today's assignment is nothing but what you need to write is, first of all, write the assignment in this chapter. I'll let you. Okay, so see, first of all, write what do you mean by stress. Okay, next is nothing but write all the types of stress. Okay, it will be asked for 2 marks. Anyone they can ask, tensile stress or compressive or tangential or volume, anything. And next, strain you write. Okay, right, what do you mean by strain? Similarly, longitudinal strain, volume strain, and shear strain, write down that. Next, elastic limit, Hooke's law, and till this, which is that stress strain curve. Okay, till here it is the assignment, because the definition which we come across this different types of strains or different type of stress, it will be asked for 2 marks. Okay, 2 or 1 marks. So we do not know which they are going to ask. So you need to be ready with all the types of stress and all the types of strains. Okay. So with this thing, we'll just conclude today's class. Okay. Yes, with the diagram you need to write. Okay. So for different types of stress or different types of strain, even though if you don't write the figure, if it is asked for 1 marks, no need of writing the figure. Okay. If it is for 1 marks, just write the definition. If it is for 2 marks, just write the figure along with definition. Okay. But for stress and strain curve, you need to write the diagram with detailed explanation, whatever it has been given in the notes. Okay. So with this thing, I'll conclude. Okay. Before that, yes, Rajesh, you have asked some doubt regarding the numerical, I think. Okay, I'll let you about that. Okay. Okay, fine. With this thing, we will conclude today's class. Okay. Thank you, students.